Aquarius, I'm really excited to do your reading today. We are going to use the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Tarot deck. This was actually a gift that just arrived today. As you know, I'm an Aries and my birthday is tomorrow. But this was a gift from an Aquarius. My little sister is an Aquarius. She's on the cusp of the second and third decan of Aqua. So I'm going to tell you just a little story that would give you an idea of it's a really good example of the nature of second and third decan Aquas. Probably first decan Aquas as well. So in my second year of doing a professional program, it was actually my second degree, and it was a very heavy, boring, kind of a very snobby school that I was in. I wasn't very happy. So in the second year, my younger sister, who's an Aquarius, had moved up to where I was living, and she had just gotten out of high school. It was, she had arrived like within, it was less than 24 hours that she had arrived. The program had already started for me. So I was coming back from being in school all day. It was a hot, hot summer day. What was it, the fall anyway? I guess late August, early September. And so we were in the middle of moving from my old apartment to the new apartment where my younger sister and I, the Aquarius, were going to live. And I was really worried all day about moving because I'd always, every time I move, I just, do it myself. I didn't have a lot of friends because the program was so heavy duty. Anyway, so I was driving back to the apartment, the original apartment, so we could start what I thought starting the move of the furniture. Now, bear in mind that she had only been in, this was a province that she had never lived in before. And I was expecting, well, I really wasn't thinking. I was just thinking, well, we'll start the move. So I came up to a stop sign and noticed that there were a bunch of young men they were moving furniture across the crosswalk. And there was a lot of it. And I thought, oh, wow, gee, I wish, too bad that I didn't have a whole team of people to help me move. And then I looked closer and I realized that the couch that some of them were carrying looked a lot like my couch. And then I looked at the chair and I thought, oh my God, that's our furniture. And then and all the young men had these big smiles on their faces. And I looked, and I could hear my younger sister's voice. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, right over there. I realized it was my younger sister. In less than 24 hours, she had made more friends than I had made there in a year. And so that will give you an idea of the social nature. Now I'm speaking to you guys, to the Aquarius, but that, you guys take that stuff for granted. I don't think you realize that the highly developed social skills that you're just born with. Anyway, that's just a little story. So I'm going to pause the tape and we are going to begin your reading. Stand by. So just before we start, because you may find this useful in looking at your reading here and interpreting it, it's very interesting. One of the points that Kim Kranz, who created this deck, makes in the beginning of her guidebook. She calls it a guidebook, Animal Spirit Guidebook. The point that she's making is that animals, first of all, she points out that we are continuing to be in awe of animals. When we see, a soaring bird or we see a whale surface, we are continually in awe of them. She makes the point that animals take us out of our human ego mindsets and into the realm of possibility. And I think that all of you have said at one time or another, that one of the reasons why you appreciate a certain dog or a cat is that they're straight up. There's no ego, there's no faking, there's no, it's all, they are completely straightforward. They are who they are, and they seem to maintain that. So she says that creatures big and small lead us humbly toward the divine. Amazing, eh? And, you know, it appears that what she's saying is that it's fine for it to be that way. And I think that we would prefer that animals do not pick up any of our ego mindsets. Perhaps that's why, you know, we're in awe of them. Anyway, let's get started with your reading. I'm really excited about this. By the way, just accidentally paused that on 555. Here is finally one very interesting comment that she made. So she was making the point that the animals that she chose for the deck were all, she wanted them all to be wild animal, not domesticated animals. So for Earth, you're going to see her choosing animals that, you know, inhabit the field and forest, water, rivers and oceans, fire, deserts and grasslands. And for you guys, for air signs, you're going to see animals, wild animals in the sky. But what's really fascinating is when she talks about when she was choosing the animals. I mean, obviously she had to choose from thousands, you know, hundreds of thousands of species. It bothered her. The cat was bothering her because it felt like it should go in, but she didn't put it in because she considered it to be domesticated. But I think that's quite brilliant of her, because I don't know if any of you, if you own a cat, I've actually heard some of you say, and I've said it before, that it's almost like you're living with a wild creature. It's not really domesticated. But I thought that that was really an insightful, cool comment, that the cat was sort of, you know, she had this feeling that it should go in, but she didn't put it in. She said, for cat lovers, your consolation is that when you see cheetahs and those types of animals, that's probably your cat. Okay. All right. So really, really intrigued by her comments. All right, let's get started. One more tiny little tidbit. In this deck, this is actually a tarot deck. I would not call this an oracle deck. These are the 4 elements. Okay, so your air, you know, all of the swords are going to be here with the air. Here's your fire, here's your water, and here's your earth. And she has developed her own major arcana. So when you see that little circle, that's a major arcana, and there are 7 major arcana in this deck. This is a pretty powerful deck. All right. I am just going to very quickly go through the major arcana so you can understand when you see the cards coming out. So just bear with me here for a moment. In this deck, there are 7 major arcana instead of 22 like there are in the regular deck. This is the first major arcana, and what she's done, what Kim Kranz has done, is she has based the 7 major arcana on the 7 chakras. So this is the first major arcana. It's called Phoenix. Now, I've studied what she has explained this is about, and I'm going to paraphrase it by saying, of course, there's a lot more that she said about this, but in general, the most important message of this card is to release yourself from the grip of self-judgment. In other words, go through everything that you are afraid, you know, of admitting, or things that, not afraid of admitting, but things that you feel ashamed of. Some of you have gotten to the point where all of this is already done. So, but for some of you, you may not realize that what's limiting you is the fact that you're judging yourself. there are a lot of ways of, and then the next question is, how do you do that? Well, one really effective way I find is just simply, what I always do with people is I ask them whatever it is that they've done that they can't get over, or they think no one will ever forgive them for, and then I remind them that, first of all, who are the two most revered characters in some of the most popular religions in the world? Well, Moses and Jesus of Nazareth are two. Moses murdered somebody. He saw, that's why he had to run away and hide for 40 years. In fact, that's one of the reasons why when he had this, when he was conversing with God, with Spirit, he asked, "Why me? I've killed somebody." Anyway, there's behind that story. What happened was the person that he killed was a soldier that was beating up a prisoner. Not obviously, I'm not excusing anything, but you get the idea. I'm not saying that, I'm not recommending that this is something to do, but what I'm saying is these things in your past, you have to burn through them. In other words, release, you have to burn this karma that's weighing you down, so that you can move upward. Jesus of Nazareth had an absolute conniption one day when in the Second Temple, back then they called bankers money changers, and they had set up tables to do their banking, and Jesus absolutely had an outrageous outburst, made a whip out of some cords and whipped them, flipped the tables over. So, these are true, if these stories are true, which I believe they are, you get the idea. You get the idea that there is nothing that Spirit, God, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, or the field, the source, yourself, your true self, higher self, whatever you like to call that unconditionally loving field that is, infinitely intelligent, that field, its capacity to forgive is infinite. It's way beyond humans. So that's the first major arcana card. By the way, when I post this reading, I am going to post at the very beginning the timestamp where the reading actually begins. But I do think it's necessary to go through this so you can understand the major arcana. So the second major arcana, this would refer to this as you move up through the body. The next chakra would be the sacral chakra, the one that is an amber orange. The whole point of this card is the directing of your energy, or channeling your efforts into what you truly like to do, in a nutshell. And that, of course, requires our ability to not care what other people think, to not be ruled, or not allow your life to be ruled by the good opinion of others. In other words, if you need others to have a good opinion of you, this chakra is not clear. You will not be able to channel your efforts and passions into what you were truly meant to do here. In other words, your sole purpose here is put on hold if you continue to care about what other people want you to do. That, in a nutshell. So over here, what chakra are we on? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so this is the I call it the mini sun chakra, the personal power chakra, the solar plexus. All right. So with the dragon, so she said that this is the, the power that. Actually, I kind of agree with her. This is, when I say personal power, I don't mean to be able to exert power over others. It's the ability to, when you truly are unified with who you truly are, the ability that you have to create, to manifest, it's limitless. So this is the miniature sun chakra. I'm just going to make one more comment on this. By the way, just accidentally paused it on 1444. So the ability to see your true self, to be your true self, and to see the true essence in others, to see the good, the beauty in others, which is the true essence. And I suppose in that way, it as you can see, the all of these chakras, all of these things, one follows the other. It's each at each point, it would be very difficult to achieve this without having achieved all of these other things that are before it. So after your miniature sun chakra or your dragon, the dragon card, we know that the next is going to be the heart chakra. So she calls it the golden egg. Now here, so that you would expect her to be talking about unconditional love here, but it's not actually what she focuses on this this major arcana card. So this is major arcana card. This would be there's the root, the sacral, the solar plexus. Yeah, so this is the fourth chakra, okay? Yeah, she calls this the home of the soul. Their whole focus on this card is allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And I guess the way that you could remember it is an egg is very delicate. If you dropped it, it would break. Vulnerability is allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and that doesn't mean open to hurt. What it means is not fearing being hurt, really. As an example, let's say you thought that if you told someone that you loved them, that you would open yourself to being hurt because they might not say it back. However, when you tell someone, you express your feelings of love, if it is truly what you're feeling, if that is love, it will not be affected by some expression from the other person. It just won't be. Unconditional love is love without conditions. It is not. It is unshakable. It is unshakable. So that is why people do not understand that the true vulnerability is actually a great strength. It's a great strength. To take a position of defenselessness requires the most courageous. That person is very courageous. This is what if you think of these rescuers, the courageous firemen that went in 9/11, that were going into the building, not coming out, but going into the fire. That is the same kind of courage, that being able to tell someone that you love them without fear of being rejected. That is vulnerability. So as you can see, it is not weakness. It's quite the opposite. Okay, let's go to the next one. I just accidentally paused it on 1818. So some of you could be dealing with the Pisces. Be the moon. Comes right after you guys, the star. Now, the black egg, the way I would remember this one, the idea of this major arcana card is something needs to be said. Think of, so the throat chakra, this is what this represents, is often focused on speaking, but it's truth. It's a truth that needs to be spoken. When the throat chakra is closed, this would represent, I guess, a closed throat chakra. Perhaps this would be a good card to, when this comes up, it may be that somebody is unable to say something that they want to say. I'm looking at the black egg, the color here, and thinking that a good way to remember this is sometimes what ought to be said doesn't go over so well. But that doesn't give you an excuse to say mean things. It is a truth that needs to be spoken, perhaps not in front of others, but sometimes it's something that needs to be spoken directly to someone in private and gently. Sometimes it's something that needs to be spoken to all, but it is never, its intention should never be to hurt or to get back at. That may be a side effect of saying something that ought to be said. And that you have to be very aware of why you're saying something. But there are some things that just have to be done, have to be said. For example, people who are trying to correct racism or trying to correct a social injustice, like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela. There are a lot of people, so just a few, who, when they first speak, it goes over very badly. But it ought to have been said. It was for the purpose of effecting change. That was its main purpose. All right. Now, I love this card. I hope that a certain lady named Michelle, who I had a conversation with regarding, she asked a question on one of the live chats, is it real? It was about, how do you know if something is real? And I was a bit argumentative with her, and I shouldn't have been, because she was bringing up a very good point. So the whole idea of this card is recognizing that some things cannot be seen by our cannot be detected by our five senses, but they are certainly real. Where is thought? Where does the energy of thought reside? When you're lying in bed, some people, composers, for example, I've spoken to people who compose music, and I ask them, when did you compose this? And I often get, I was lying in bed. And I'm like, were you writing? No, I didn't write down the score till the next day. So where did that composition exist between the time that she composed the piece and actually wrote it down on a musical score? Where did it exist? It existed in the realm of what is it called? The infinite waveless energy, which does exist. It's at a very high frequency. It's not in material, what we call material form, but it actually exists. So when we, a unicorn, the idea of the unicorn is, it doesn't exist, right? So this could represent people who don't, the whole idea here could represent someone who says that you're crazy if you, if you believe in ghosts or whatever. Actually, those people, it's not that you're crazy. Those people need to take a physics course. They just don't understand that actually, with that same person that tells you you're crazy because you saw a ghost, what would that person, I wonder, what would they say about the story that I just told you? That where does that piece of music, the composition that the woman that I was speaking with, where did that exist between the time that she was lying in bed and she reduced it to writing on a musical score? Where was it? Where did it exist? I wonder what that person say. Well, they probably, they would say, you know what they would say? In the brain, that it existed in the brain. But guess what? In the study that we were discussing on the live chat, yes, it's true, there are certain sort of connections that are physically, that do show up in the physical brain. However, the problem is they also discovered that brainwaves, the thought, that consciousness doesn't require the body to be alive. So the study actually confirms the existence of ghosts, literally. So, it's just, we have to deal with people who are going to judge us, and, it's just something we're going to have to very calmly tolerate. And if someone, my advice always to people, if someone is picking a fight with you, you can always tell. You're out for dinner and there's some really, really conservative person there. They know you do tarot, whatever, and they start picking a fight. Disengage. Just don't. Just, what to do is agree with them on everything. Ask them to start talking and say, yeah, you're right. Just agree with them and let them, just don't argue with them, because those people, you can tell when somebody truly is interested in what you're doing and when they just want to make fun of you. So just play dumb, call their bluff because it's not worth your energy. Okay, there we go. Now this one is so I read her explanation of this. It's really complicated, but I think what she's saying is it's the point where you've reached total self-actualization and you understand everything, and there's this little blink of, oh my God, I know why I'm here. One of the things that she did say is that after a long, this is especially for people who have been through a very, very, very difficult life, a difficult journey, but then all of a sudden you realize how far you've come in whatever way, you may start realizing that there was a reason for this, a reason for that. Maybe somebody that you thought you had a failed relationship with, maybe you bumped into them and they said, oh my God, you taught me to do this, and now I always make, and you have this realization that you have done good work, that even though you suffered, you helped people, and that you didn't do any damage to others, and that the world was better for you having been here, that type of thing. That's just one example. It's very complicated. The woman who created this deck is extremely intelligent. I don't quite understand everything that she says. For those of you who own it, you might have a better interpretation of this. Feel free to put it in the comments. Now, let's just see, 2629. So I will now make sure that it's in the beginning of the reading, that's where your reading starts. All right, let's get started. Thanks for those of you who did listen to this intro. Thank you. So we are going to do a 9-card spread. These are what we're looking at. How do you see yourself? The second will be, how do others see you? The third position will be, what do you like about yourself? The fourth position will be what you look for in a partner, whether you know it or not. The fifth position will be, what do they, if you have a person, if you don't have a person, just substitute your future person, okay? Number 5 will be, what do they look for in a partner? Number 6 will be, what do they like about you? The 7th position will be a hint about your future in love and your future person. The 8th position will be a hint about your future in other areas, career, etc. And the 9th position will be some advice, okay? Here we go. Okay, so I've just done about 5 minutes of shuffling, and she has a very specific way of getting the final order of the cards, so we're going to follow that. Can we get an accurate reading, please, for Aquarius? So I'm just going to show you in a minute what she recommends doing. In 4, in 3, in 2, and in 1. And we're going to do this dominant hand thing, or non-dominant hand. So she says specifically to use the non-dominant hand to first make 3 piles and allow them to break naturally. Can we have an accurate reading, please, for Aquarius? Okay, so that was definitely breaking naturally. Now, she says, in any order that feels right to you, to place the 3 piles back into one. I feel like doing that. Now she says that we begin pulling them from the top. So here we go with our 9 positions. So this would be how you see yourself. A shark. That's really cool. How others see you. A bear. This is going to be really interesting. What you like about yourself. Starfish. Guys, this is really cool. What you look for in a partner. Lion. Maybe some of you like Leo. Just a moment now. The 5th position. What are they looking for in a partner? The gazelle. Oh God, this is hilarious. Must be dealing with a Scorpio. Anyway, what they like about you. Oh, this is going to be cool. The frog. That's probably really good, guys. Just it doesn't mean that you're a frog. Actually, there's a really cool. You're going to love this reading, okay? Now, number 7 is a hint about your love life in the future. Okay, and who your person is going to be a tarantula. This is going to be hilarious. The next position is a hint about your future in career and other areas. Be busy as a bee. Actually, that's really good. And overall advice will be right here. Buffalo. Guys, this is going to be a very, very cool reading. So at the bottom of the deck, we have an air card. So that's your nightingale. So, okay, so let's begin the reading. Guys, this is so cool. So right now, I strongly feel that there is a truth that you want. In this deck, so how you see yourself is being very direct and honest. But shark energy starts being raised when something needs to be said. So what I believe that you are triggered right now because someone is refusing to tell a truth. Sharks are only dangerous when truth is not being acknowledged. Something big needs to be exposed. So when other people are being hesitant to be honest, danger. I think this is just amazing because so the advice here, the only way to bring things into balance is honesty with this card. So I feel like if you are an Aquarius cross watcher, you better tell the truth to Aquarius. So that's you. How you see yourself is someone who requires straightforward honesty. And if not, but I just think you not chop their leg off, but I do think that you can be quite dangerous if somebody is dishonest with you. That other person is really going to have a problem. I love sharks, by the way. I absolutely love sharks. All right, now so that's how you see yourself. Now we're going to look at how others see you. So just to begin my interpretation of this, a direct quote from her guidebook is, the bear card represents an individual on the cusp of new directions and personal transformations. But also, you may have been sort of laying low and off the grid for a few months. So maybe but it's because you are, there's some kind of huge transformation going on. And right now, so how others see you is that you're coming out of being off the grid and you are about to do something very new and different, and it's major. So people may be sort of wary of what you're going to do, where you're going to go. I think people are really watching you. It's a very powerful card. It's all about, the idea of hibernating, and then when you come out there, you are ready for an entirely new cycle. But in this deck, in the guidebook, it has to do with transformation and new direction. It's very, very powerful. So inner strength, yearning to grow, transformation begins. A spiritual quest. You may be on a spiritual quest, moving toward the dawning of light and awakening. So the way that others see you is you may have been missing for a while, off the grid, but now they know that you are about to enter a very powerful cycle. But it may be something spiritual. I also think that where you're coming up is a bear. They may be a little. You're very powerful, so they may be they do find you very powerful. They may even find you intimidating. Now, the third, what is so ironic, is the next position is what you like about yourself, and it's the starfish. So, and you are the star. So let's have a look at the key points of this. This is quite a fascinating deck. This is really interesting because, especially regarding the story that I told in the beginning about my younger sister who's an Aquarius. So this represents you are positive, uplifting, alluring. You attract positive friends. People are attracted to you because of your artistic, uplifting, positive expression. it's a natural beauty. It's not, you know, a superficial plastic surgery kind of beauty. It's a natural, exquisite beauty, mesmerizing to all. I think what you like um, mostly about yourself is that you uplift others, because that is the whole idea of this. It is the fact that to go toward positive friends, to be around people whose energy gives you like a beautiful, thrilling feeling. So what's interesting, though, the warning about this card is to don't, you may have, because of this, you may have developed sort of a people pleaser attitude. So don't, I guess the advice of this card is to remember to save time for yourself. What is it that somebody said to me the other day, and I thought it was funny? I can't help it if I'm popular. Somebody, I mean, I guess he said it in a joking way, but some people are literally, you can't help it that you're popular. So in other words, you do have to not feel bad about just politely turning people down. Just say, look, I'm exhausted. I really want to. I can't wait to see you again, but I need some rest. That type of thing, okay? But it's light, positive. So you really, what you like, I think that's really, it's selfless. What you like about yourself is that you make others feel good. So that's really, that's very cool, Aqua. That's what I like about you guys. All right, now the next position. I can't wait to see what this is. This is supposed to represent what you look for in a partner, all right? In a romantic partner. What do you look for? And what I'm giggling at is a lot of you are seeing Leos or have in the past. And we've got the lion representing this position. Let's see if we can get a little more info according to this deck. So this is what you look for in a partner, whether you realize it or not. Okay. So this is interesting. It's not what I thought at all. So you are actually looking for someone who is both on a personal and spiritual level. They are. So you're looking for someone who is developed, someone who has developed on a personal level, spiritually. You're looking. You may find that the person that you like it intimidates others, but it's not for a bad reason. It's because they are a strength. There's an idea of strength, but inner peace. It's the epitome of peace and strength. Someone who has dedicated their life to personal and spiritual growth. They are respected but known intimately by few. Some mistake the lion as hard to access or aloof, yet those with a keener eye know better. Someone who is observant, who has stealth, who is precise in their words and actions, who does not waste energy or resources. So you're looking for, well, good for you. That's a tall order there, guys. Holy moly. So this person may sometimes be a little withdrawn or too serious. They do need to meditate a little more. But this is a good choice because, so on the outside, this person may appear not to be a good choice. So your friends may not think that this person is a good choice, but you know that they are. So, by the way, if you're in a same-sex relationship, I believe you're the feminine, because this is what you're looking for. And what's interesting is what's coming up is, I believe it's what they're looking for. No, wait a minute, just a second now. Yes, it's what they're looking for in a partner. This is so hilarious. Okay, so now we're doing the fifth position, which is what they are looking for in a partner. And we've got the gazelle. Now, we really got to pay attention to this, okay? Wow, this is interesting. One of the things that they are looking for is someone who is vulnerable, but it's not in a bad way. It's what they're looking for is someone who is artistic, aware of their environment. In fact, it's sophisticated and elegant. But the idea, though, of the gazelle is that the gazelle is hyper aware of their surroundings. So they have developed. I would say that your person is looking for someone who knows the lay of the land and who is not too focused on what other people think or the need to run. The gazelle, because they are hyper aware of their environment, and I suppose they can run very quickly. But the idea is a sophistication, artistic, vulnerable, and a heightened awareness of their environment. There's a light energy, though, here. Graceful, perceptive, artistic. This is what they're looking for. Somebody who is hyper aware of their environment, artistic, graceful. I think you've just, I believe that this, I mean, although this is, there's an earthy element to this, there's also a lot of air in this, so this would make sense because the awareness of the environment, that is, sort of related to the, to knowing the lay of the land, knowing who's around you. Perhaps they like the fact that you are not a pushover, that it's really, maybe when we go on to the buffalo and the frog, we'll figure this out a little bit more. It'll come together. So the next position is what they like about you. So I think this is going to help us, okay? Sorry, the next position is what they like about you. It is the frog. So this is going to help us a little bit, okay? This is the overall advice. So that's what they're looking for in a partner, and this is what they like about you. So I think this is going to explain a little bit more about the gazelle, all right? So this is just fascinating. One of the things that your person really loves about you, they have seen you at some point in your life where you were just running on empty. And it is awe-inspiring. So there is, it's this, the idea of this frog is that at some point there's a cycle where it's undernourished and it needs water, but it has the energy which literally comes from nowhere, and it's very inspiring. So it's also the idea of enthusiasm for life. So and that's apparently, the idea of this frog when it goes through that stage, it runs on nothing but enthusiasm. So I think that this is something that they not only like about you, but they admire it about you. Do you notice how with the gazelle and the frog, there's sort of a lightness and it's this artistic beauty, this ability to be, the gazelle also runs very fast. The gazelle can jump very high as well as the frog. So, and with the gazelle, there was an idea of grace in every movement. So I just think that, I also actually think that's correct from what I know of you guys. Other things about, that they find about you is that you're healing. The idea of cleansing and rejuvenation, they may feel around you like they've been cleansed and rejuvenated. This may be the energy that they pick up from you. And that you're forgiving. So these are the energies that they love about you. But it's really, also you may be they may find you to be very adaptable, because there's the idea of being able to adapt to the water and the land here. They may have seen you go through a time where you were overworked and undernourished. And they may have just, they see you as being able to run. Again, the idea of running on empty is huge here. Amazing. That's quite a compliment. All right. So now we're going to go to the 7th position. is a hint about the future in love and your person, and we have the tarantula. So I can't wait to hear what this is. Actually, just a moment now. This is supposed to go here. Give me a moment, guys. I gotta make sure I didn't pull up the cards. Yeah, the nightingale is at the bottom of the deck. That's right. Okay. Now, so we have the 8th position. The 8th, 7, 8, and 9 is what we have left. 7, 8, and 9, and that was at the bottom of the deck, right? Okay. So this is the 7th position. The 7th position is a hint about your love life in the future and a hint about your person, the tarantula. Okay, let's see what we have. Wow, you're not going to believe this. Now, I'm going to just prop up this card and I'm going to read word for word what comes out here. Well, I'll tell you what I think it is first. Either, first of all, there's a strong possibility that for many of you, your true lover, okay, is if they're not already in your life, you're already feeling this pull toward them, and they're feeling a pull toward you. They're there. Or it could be somebody that's in your environment, but you're not with them right now. And you know that this is the person that you truly want. What I'm about to read to you tells me that number one, I'm absolutely 100% certain that the advice of this card is that you must choose with what you truly desire, which is one of the great challenges that air signs have, because there is always this tendency to focus on the logical or to weigh pros and cons, and put less emphasis on what you truly desire. Let me just read to you, having said that, what this one paragraph about this tarantula at a crossroad, claiming life's purpose. The tarantula represents a moment when a great decision must be made. It involves prioritizing your life's deeper purpose or dharma. A habit or routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream. Yet a voice inside keeps begging you to refocus your attention in order to find your true happiness. You must choose dharma. Until you do, satisfaction will be fleeting. The tarantula hovers patient and calm, like an old friend that knows your inner soul. It already knows you'll choose wisely. Follow your intuition. And so the weaknesses when you're in this situation, when you're out of balance here, is that you will hesitate and over intellectualize. So do I need to say more? You must, you know who you love, you know your person. So the hint there would be, if your logical mind is telling you, no, but I can't do that because they never did this and they can't do this and they're not very good with children, they're not, that is over intellectualizing. Refocus on your heart and who you truly desire in love. Now, the next position represents a hint about your future in other areas of your life, so career, finances. And I mean, this is just an incredibly positive reading. We have the bee, and let me tell you why you're going to love this. Very positive card for your future, but as a hint about what it is that you might be doing in the future. There is an idea here of you adding the artistic element to a group project. You might be somebody who comes in, for example, I see you being specialized in one area. So if you're part of a group, you're not really part of the group. You have you're sort of outside. You could be somebody who's outsourced to come in. Let me just read this to you. The B personality is a delight to be around, especially when there's a team project on the horizon. Bees love to work steadily and thoughtfully until the final task is complete. Now listen to this. They are sensitive creatures, aware of many subtleties at once, since they are artists at heart. They usually add creative details to the overall vision. For the most part, they have bustling, joyous personalities. So there's an idea of you being but what I'm seeing here is somebody who comes in to do something very specialized. So although you may be part of a group project, you do have a specific purpose. So you may, if it's not an artistic purpose, well, I mean, artistic, we tend to use that word and think it only relates to people who paint, draw, or do music. But it's not really. A person who creates computer programs is an artist, for example. Anything that involves creativity. And I do think that you're going to be specialized. You're going to be very busy. And I think that you could be somebody, you may go out on your own, because look at how there's just one bee there. You may go out on your own and you may be called, you're going to be very busy, as in busy as a bee. It may have something to do with, I'm just looking at the idea of conservation and the environment. I do think you're rare, since bees are becoming rare. The key words here are earnest, hardworking, and democratic. So if you are content, active, vibrant, boy, you're adding something that is essential but specialized. That's what I feel. Okay? If you're in politics, you're on the side, what you add is an important voice. So the word democratic there really calls out, you add to the overall mechanism. You don't have to be a Democrat, but you're adding to the something that is essential to the overall project. Amazing. Now, so the final card is advice. All right. And we had the buffalo. I have no idea what this is, so I'm just going to pause the tape and read it. And we are going to look at the bottom of the deck as well, which was the nightingale. So this is overall advice, okay? By the way, I just accidentally paused it on 5252. So 2 2s and 2 5s might be important. February the 5th, May the 2nd, 5522. All right, one moment now. The overall advice is to see any bumps in the road, any challenge, any hardship as an opportunity for upliftment, which I think you're already doing. The advice of this card is not to fear death, not to fear illness or misfortune. Trust every turn. I am just so blown away by the fact that you got this as overall advice, because none of the other cards would seem like this description here, I've been reading all the other descriptions in the book, is so suitable for overall advice. I am going to read the entire thing out verbatim, because I think you need to hear this to get the point of the card. I don't trust myself to paraphrase it properly. So the buffalo is grounded yet heavenly, practical yet spiritual. The hooves of the mighty buffalo are grounded into the earth, yet its heart and mind rise toward heaven. The buffalo sees challenge, hardship, or a bump in the road as an opportunity for upliftment. Therefore, the buffalo does not fear death, illness, or misfortune. Its gentle eyes look to the road ahead, trusting every turn. May we all experience this elusive yet life-changing bliss from time to time. And may we allow this card to remind us that life is a precious gift. To bring this into balance, look at this, prayer. That is a word that I cannot pronounce. If I had my Indian friends here now with me, you guys, you'd be able to tell me what this is. But anyway, it is, now, BHAKTI. Perhaps you guys can let me know what that means. So when in balance, you will be trusting and be able to be present in the moment. When it's out of balance, we will feel restless and we will lack gratitude. So the main point of this is, I believe it's what you guys are already doing. But you may be right now facing some kind of upcoming, what you feel is a misfortune or something that, you're dreading. The message here would be, do not fear. Do not fear. This might seem, overwhelming, but it's not. It was supposed to happen. Let's just be calm and ride through it and see it as an opportunity. I'm sure that whatever you're about to face, it may not be fair. It may not be fair. Or what you're going through may not be fair. But you may have to sort of go through it anyway. So the challenge here is just to move through it. It's an opportunity for change. I do want to have a look at what the bottom of the deck, the card on the bottom of the deck is always a really good sort of footnote. So we're going to have a look at the Nightingale. So if some of you are composers, you may be composing something. For others of you, you may hear a song today, and the words may be communication from your person. The idea of music as a healing tool here, or music being a voice to transmit a message, to speak freely through music. You may want to write down, you may want to compose music, you may want to communicate, or someone may want to communicate through you with music, or you may simply hear a bird and know that it is a message from your person. Let me know if any of this resonates. Sorry the reading was so long, but I think we're going to use this deck a whole lot more. I just love it. All right, let me know if anything resonated, Aquarius.